Sorry.
I'm so happy that I was
Yeah, I went back up.
of my class and advised the students I was like, they should come to the seminar or here or on their way here. I think so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're ready when
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Does it come through if I just hold it like this?
Yeah,
Like,
I think so.
okay, sweet.
It's mainly for the live stream. I'm feeling people can hear you in the room.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Evan Meeker,
I'm Taydra.
My name is Rudra Thaker.
and we're here today to talk about our experiences with the Graduate Climate Conference, both in attending and in helping to organize it. So the goals of this talk are twofold. The first is to kind of give an overview of what the Graduate Climate Conference is, and then the second is a bit of a recruitment because we are looking for people to help organize it both this year in Washington at Pack Forest, as well as next year in 2027 in Wisconsin, and this would be like November of 2027. So yeah, we'll talk about what the Graduate Climate Conference is, what organizing it looks like, and then a little bit more detail about what we have planned so far in Wisconsin.
Okay, so just an overview of what the Graduate Climate Conference is. It's an interdisciplinary conference, and it's for graduate students planned by graduate students. These are the previous years that have hosted the Graduate Climate Conference, and I think it's 20 years now, so there's definitely...
This year's the 20th anniversary.
This year's the 20, okay, yes. And there's Rudra and Evan and the other co-chairs also presenting this slide. There's usually like 3 to 4 co-chairs. I think it was like 4 co-chairs. But we'll get more into that later. And so the objectives for the GCC are first to foster a cross-institutional and cross-disciplinary networking and collaboration. And it's also to provide a low-stakes environment for graduate students to practice and receive peer feedback on conference-style presentations. And we really like it to just be graduate students and planned by graduate students because these are students that haven't, presented on their work before. And so this is a very low stakes and really welcoming and opening environment for graduate students that don't have that experience presenting at a larger conference to come and present their results. And you do meet a lot of other grad students as well, and I have made a lot of friends through this experience, and I've definitely have done a lot of networking through it as well. I was able to find out about the GoShip program through it, where I did a cruise in the middle of the Atlantic for a month, so that was really fun. But yeah, lots of different opportunities come from this conference. And so we accomplish these goals through oral presentations and poster presentations. Here's me giving a public flash talk, Evan giving a poster talk. I think that one's from Pack Forest, this one's from when it was held at MIT. We also have student-led and partner-led workshops. And so these are workshops that students put together. You can propose a workshop, and if your workshop is chosen, then you'll get to kind of teach students things that you want to teach them, that you're interested in, and like outreach and a bunch of other topics like coding, specific things.
We got data visualization.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite. Yeah.
We had a really cool one on like AI. Someone actually came in and talked about like their AI model that they were working on. Yeah.
And then we also have keynote presentations from early career scientists. You can see Hannah in the corner there. Definitely a really funny talk. But usually these talks are super inspirational too, and you really kind of get into the weeds of what it's like being a scientist or just in STEM in general. And some of the keynote speakers are other previous GCC attenders, and so it's really cool to see them come back and experience it through another lens. And we have social events as well. And so one of the events that we throw is the annual Halloween party. And the year that we all three went together, I made these costumes as a group costume. Can anyone guess what we are?
I'm from Tug.
Yeah, because you're in. Yeah.
I know it too.
Yeah.
The energy
Yeah, it's Earth's energy balance. So we got like albedo. Oops, there's the pointer. Radiation, which I am. Like sensible heat, latent heat, and you're just a residual
I'm the
value.
residual.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was really, really fun. We also do like trivia as well, and they've been doing like different things. Like they did a hike. I think did you guys go on the hike? But yeah. So another little overview is it's usually around 120 attendees, and it goes over a weekend, so it's 3 days and it's 2 nights, and it's usually the end of October, so that's why we have a Halloween costume contest. But this past year it was just beginning of November. We still did Halloween costumes, but the meals and lodging are included, and we also have travel assistance for those who don't have the funding to attend, which is really, really cool. The GCC planners work really hard to ensure that people can get there without having to pay. And yeah, we have a schedule here that we usually use for the conference with like the workshops. We've got dinners and different things. This is us at the Pack Forest 2024 GCC. So yeah, definitely a lot of fun. And then, oh yeah. So we also have a lot of sponsors as well that help fund the GCC. So we definitely like to highlight NSF. They're the largest contributor to funding the GCC, as well as AOS and CCR and Woods Hole. So Hui is also a large contributor as well. It's usually hosted either at Pack Forest in Washington, or Hui or MIT will host as well. And so not this year, but next year we want it to be hosted here. Hosting at Hui was not fun. It was really hard planning.
Expensive.
Yeah, it was really
fun.
expensive.
It was expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, and some other, like the CO2 Foundation is a big contributor as well. But yeah, just like to thank our sponsors.
Do you want to switch off?
Oh, yeah.
I can switch off.
Okay.
Okay, so I also just wanted to highlight that this is interdisciplinary. This is from 2 years ago, and it started in the atmospheric sciences department at University of Washington. So this was originally mostly physical scientists, but it's really grown to be beyond that. There still are a lot of physical scientists that come. Like you can see, atmospheric dynamics is the single biggest slice, but well over 30% of this is non-traditional STEM areas, including environmental management, climate justice, some policy people. I think some of the coolest talks tend to be on that sort of thing, because you're hearing stuff that you're not normally hearing, and then we try to make sure that we are also inviting those people in when they're hearing physical science talks that they don't normally hear. And one way that we do that is by having some of the organizers give little 5-minute overviews of the different categories. So they'll do a really high level, what is atmospheric chemistry, what is going to be in this talk, just so that they're not completely confused by it. And then also wanted to highlight that folks come from all over the US and also from all over the world. This was last year at Woods Hole. We had folks from Europe and Africa, Australia, and Southeast Asia attend. And then within the US, we have folks all over. You will notice that there's more folks from the East Coast, and this was at Woods Hole in Massachusetts. When it's hosted in Washington, there tends to be more folks from the West Coast. And so one of the reasons that we want to host it in Wisconsin is because we think that there's a lot of interest in climate in the Midwest and in the central US, and this would both be kind of an in-between of those two, and it would hopefully attract more folks that don't necessarily want to go to one coast or the other. So a little bit about how the GCC is organized. So each year there are 3 or 4 co-chairs. 2 years ago, Rudra and I were co-chairs for Pack Forest, along with Lily and Mackenzie. The best picture that I have is from the Halloween party. But there's us also presenting like at the start of the conference. And basically what the co-chairs do is make sure that the conference runs smoothly both while the conference is happening as well as throughout the year, organizing meetings for the other committee members and like kind of being the final say if there's any questions that arise and just being a source of experience and executive decision making. In addition to the co-chairs, there are a bunch of committees, and this was the full organizer team from Pack Forest in 2024. There's, I think, about 20 people there. I'm not going to count. But generally, on the committees, it's like 2 to 3 people per committee, with one person chairing and then other people helping out. These are all the committees. I'm going to not show you a ton of information, but I'll go over them super fast. If anything is interesting to you, I want you to like make a note of it and then ask us more, because we can talk forever about this stuff, but I didn't want it to take forever to give this presentation. So fundraising is pretty self-explanatory. You do fundraising. A big part of that is writing the NSF grant each year. Conference logistics talks to the conference center and plans the schedule of the conference itself, make sure everything works out. Abstracts is kind of everyone, actually, and that's once applications come in, everyone helps evaluate the abstracts and figure out who's accepted. Pamphlets and swag organize the accepted abstracts into a big old pamphlet, and then also help with anything extra that is made for it. So for example, I have my mug from Pack Forest with the logo on it. And I have like 4 of them because I went at the end and was like, give me the extras.
They usually do like stickers.
Yeah.
The organizers get like a special like thing. Like this past year, I should have brought it.
You
yeah.
only get this if you organize.
Yeah.
It's a secret, but I'm letting you in on the secret.
Reduce the budget on that though, so.
But if it happens in Madison, we'll have
Yeah.
budget
Oh yeah.
restrictions.
Okay. Website manages the website and updates it each year. Recording and evaluation does during the event itself, does some recording. This was mostly during COVID when it was online, like there was more to do with that. But then the other big part is afterwards there's an evaluation, and that gets sent to NSF basically saying like, hey, here's what it is that we did. And so they work on that. Travel logistics helps with travel reimbursement and also like getting buses from the airport and that sort of thing. Audio visual, during the conference itself, they're basically doing what Pete's doing, and also like getting all of the presentations together and making sure that like they're on one computer and smoothly going. Communications works on emailing the applicants, actually sending out all of the emails and like fielding responses or questions from folks. Relations is our newest committee, and this is specifically talking to big sponsors such as the CO2 Foundation, if they want to like put on a workshop or do something extra in addition to donating resources. We've had some more folks come in the last couple of years, which has been cool. And finally, social committee, which like plans the Halloween party and does a trivia night and that sort of thing. So the timeline for actually putting the event on as an organizer around right now is when the committees are forming, and anyone that's interested, you can tell us. We'll have a survey at the end, and then you'll get information from the organizing committee. Then in April, the venue's first contacted and stuff gets set up, and then like website and communications are working on advertising the conference itself. In June, the application opens and it closes in July. And then in July, those abstracts are evaluated. We send out a list in August. The conference gets finalized, which this is a lot of work on the conference logistics side, which I've done before. Like as you're getting into early October, making sure everything looks right. And then finally, around Halloween, you have the conference itself.
So this brings us to the end or the last part of the presentation, and then we'll have a question and answer or like a discussion after this, which is hosting GCC in Wisconsin for 2027. So this idea originally occurred to the three of us when Evan and I were co-chairing in 2024. And we wanted to bring this to Wisconsin because UW itself has a lot of different departments that does broadly climate stuff, and we never talked to them. And that is exactly how originally the first GCC was. Started in Washington is to have this interaction of cross-departmental and within-department people to show their results or share their research. So I think it makes really good sense to bring it to Wisconsin, and we have been working backhand to bring this to Wisconsin for next year. What we have done so far is to receive a department green light and faculty liaison. We have one thanks to Liz, who was herself a participant in 6th GCC, which was in 2012, and then 7th GCC, which was 2013. That's very blurred pictures because we cropped. And this mainly included just talking to Ankur and Christy and talking to them about how and what the logistics are and what they will be required to do once this conference happens. One of the idea that has is that we also have centers like Nelson and CCR that can also help facilitate things when, if needed, from logistical purposes. Found a space to host the conference, and we found one which is called Upham Woods. It's a University of Wisconsin extension, so we get discounted prices to host anything on Upham Woods. They have really nice conference center. Evan and I had a conversation with them to see if they can host a conference like this, and it fits all the things that the conference needs, if not better, than what we have been doing at Pack Forest or Woods Hole. And it is kind of that vibe where you still have that summer camp thing, which Pack Forest in Washington offers. Like, it's situated by the Wisconsin River. There's a Black Hawk Island where you can take a ferry to for a social night or something. And it can host 200 people, and the conference is 120 people. So we're all set for that. What we need to do to make this happen, and it's a conditional statement. So if we want to bring GCC in Wisconsin in 2027, we first need to show that there are enough participation happening from Wisconsin. And I think we have enough participation. We have just not been promoting this conference across the campus sufficiently to engage that people in the GCC. So first things first, before next Friday, so within a week and a half, what we are supposed to be doing is find 4 to 5 students, if not more, if there are more people interested, kudos, who wants to help organize GCC 2026, which is this year. So if you let us know by Friday, we have a bigger form which you might be asked to fill up, or we'll just share your emails with the current co-chairs, and they'll sign you up on different committees based on your preference. And that is essentially because once we have few people attend this conference or help organize it this year, then we may be conditioned to completely organize it by ourselves next year. Obviously, we will have help from other universities, but being the home universities, a lot of on-ground logistical issues would be solved by us, and having participated once definitely brings an advantage. So the people who are interested will help organize GCC in Washington 2026, which would be mostly spectating different committees and understanding the task that they give you and what the timeline is. And they will most likely also be asked to become the leads for the conference in 2027. Apart from this, if you are on the fence of maybe you want to help organize it or not, then we also have some spots reserved for this year for University of Wisconsin attendees to participate. So go attend the conference, present your research, experience how it is, and then if you're interested, you can always help it organize for 2027. So we have 2 different options. We definitely need 4 to 5 organizers, and I think we'll have them by the end of the seminar to help and organize, but also I think close to 15 to 20, not seats, but spots are saved for Wisconsin students across the campus for participation. And for 2027, which is almost a year from now, so sometime this time next year, hopefully earlier, by January 2027, we would have 10 to 12 volunteers across campus. So we have engineering, we have geosciences, we have geography, we have Nelson. Find graduate students who want to help organize this conference. And then out of all the committees that Evan shared, we will have 1 Wisconsin student head that committee, again, because it's on grounds, like you're here in person. And then other students from other universities would help you part of that committee. A committee is, again, 3 to 4 people. So there will be lots of help presented there. With that, if you're interested in any of this, either attending or participating or helping, here's a QR code. We'll send a separate email after this with the Google form link. It's a fairly short Google form, asks like 5 questions, your name and what you want to do. And we'll contact them later next week to understand what they can do for GCC 2026 and then 2027. And we will share the presentation and the Google form by the end of today or maybe tomorrow. And with that, we'll open it up for questions and have a conversation about GCC. We have more slides, we have more information. It could be very informal. We can make a circle, or we can just have chairs here and you can ask us questions. Thank you.
Does anyone have anything off the bat?
Do you guys have like I know, I'm forgetting what the committees were, but
Yeah.
like, do you have certain criteria or something, a condition where like your logistics committee is gonna be from the place where, like the hosting institute or things like that?
Yeah, so that was what Rudra said at the end there is I think the goal, especially for like the logistics folks and probably the fundraising as well, would be to have someone from Wisconsin head that.
Also
So-
like audio and visual too.
Yeah, so
And
that
the
they can go to Upland Woods ahead of time and talk to people, or be talking with folks here about that sort of stuff. And that's always been the case, like at MIT or Washington. It would be very hard to completely remotely do this sort of thing. And just going and checking out the space always gives ideas about it. So like when I was a co-chair, it was my second time at Pack Forest, and I had a bunch of ideas about how to do the poster session better based on when I had been there the first time and some of the silly things that we did.
Are you guys going to Nelson as well, like for 2026? Like
I think we'll send like a advertisement out to folks and like make sure that it's well advertised. I think the goal for this year is if the folks helping to organize are mostly from here this year going to Washington, I think that's fine, because then next year there'll be a group of people able to reach out when it's hosted locally.
Another kind of cool thing about planning too is that you're insured a spot at the conference. It is getting more and more competitive. We had like 300 applicants last year. We can only admit like 120.
I think it was almost 400.
Or 400? Oh,
Yeah, it was
Oh,
more
geez.
than
Okay,
350.
yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely getting more and more competitive. Yeah.
If you have trouble finding like 4 or 5 people by next Friday, let me know, because we can always advertise it to all the grad students to present a price and posters.
Yeah.
Dozens of those. We have other channels like the Wiki or through the Rural Partnership Institute.
Yeah.
We may be able to get other grad students on campus in other departments that do climate work.
Awesome.
Yeah. And building on that, it is not restricted to UW-Madison.
Okay.
Any UW system which is doing, as we look at the teams, which are doing things like this, the goal is to have all of them participate and engage, and not just have one university or one department like take all the heavy stuff on their back. So any network, like if they're not able to attend or participate this year because of restriction of numbers, we can always have them participate in 2027. So just having that interest helps us build our case. Like we have 60 students, let's say, from Wisconsin who want to do this, and that's like, yeah, we should definitely do it here more often than once in 3 years then.
But I've been using the Upland Woods facility the last few years for one of our STEM camps for autistic kids, and the site's beautiful. I think you'll really enjoy it up there.
Yeah.
Even the end of April, we're going to be having a student research symposium up there where we're going to have some middle school, high school students presenting. So if anyone wants to join any of those activities to kind of give you a preview of the site and what it's like to run an event there, let me know.
That'd be really cool.
So just good looking for judges for that event.
Yes. Nicola.
Thank you. I have a side question.
Yeah.
So you said that you have almost like 400 applications last year. I am wondering how, and I want to relate that to like the graph you show with all the different like subjects that the conference address. How do you manage selecting 120 people and balancing the subject you want to do in the conference?
So we assign the abstracts across organizers first. And each abstract is reviewed by 2 organizing committee, one being an expert, one who considers himself an expert on the committee, and one who doesn't.
Like
And then
in the
there's a
subject
scoring.
area.
Yeah, like based on the subject area and everything, because they choose keywords while writing the abstract. So once we have the first final run through of the abstracts, we do a quick pie chart similar to what you saw of the distribution, and see our initial selection is spanning different fields, or is it just atmospheric dynamics and ocean, or like physical oceanography because of the bias in judging. So past when we were co-chairs, we made a similar figure earlier based on the abstracts to see that we have 20% abstracts for atmospheric dynamics and 30% for ocean combined physical, chemical, biological. Then the final selected pool should reflect that kind of contribution from different fields. So if there's like 5 abstracts coming from communication, at least 1 should be selected for representation of communication. Like not, vaguely doing that.
I would say that at least when I did it, it hadn't been too much of a problem. Like when you go through everyone accepted, it was pretty close to the distribution of applications in the first place. If anything, I would say that it would act as a tiebreaker. Like if you already know that you have 3 people specifically talking about tropical ocean dynamics, the 4th one who scored about the same as someone that is doing atmospheric chemistry and there's no one doing atmospheric chemistry, then we would use that as a tiebreaker. But I don't think it's ever been that much of an issue.
So you put you try to put emphasis on having like a more diverse subject
Yeah.
than
Yes.
having specific topic.
Yeah.
Overall, there will be specific topics, like we would have a whole session of ice and climate dynamics kind of thing.
But-
So there will be like 6 presentations. So it won't be that you're the only one doing ice or atmospheric chemistry. We will make sure that there are other people who are tangentially doing something similar to you, so you can go and talk to them. And there has been never a case that where someone's like, I'm the only person doing this here, so I'm like, who do I talk to? There's always people who are broadly doing similar things.
And those subjects are decided after we send
Yes.
out the acceptance. Like, we aren't looking beforehand to fill certain subjects. We're figuring out how everything fits together.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go back to my original question, because I think you just answered that second one. In the beginning, Taydra, you said about like the goals of GCC being sort of practice for going to larger conferences. Does that mean, is there a preference given to early grad students versus second?
For talks.
For talks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mostly did posters every time that I went. I did do like a lightning talk and a poster this previous year because they had something drop out. And the lightning talks this year, the public component of the GCC was new because the people funding us wanted to have a public component, and honestly, I do think it was a cool component to it. But I think we're definitely going to handle it differently if we did it here. I think there's like a couple symposiums going on at the same time as when we'd want to hold the conference here, so we would kind of maybe merge those together a little bit.
But to answer your question, there is a preference given to folks. We specifically ask, like, have you given a presentation
Yes.
at a big conference like AG or AMS? And if they say no, then we'll give them preference for a talk. We also ask if they want to give a talk. If they don't want to give a talk, we don't give them a talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been cases where people who are about to graduate have also given a talk because they are going to present somewhere where they need to practice. Like, it's not always just the first or second years or early career who are giving a talk. There have been like talks which are seasoned and close to defense talks sometimes.
You do have to present something though if you are going. Yeah.
Nicola.
I think you addressed it a little bit, but have you started to talk about that to other departments? Do you have plans to do that?
Have we started talking to other
Like,
departments?
to show this presentation or like to promote.
Yeah, we have talked about that, like reaching out to other departments and see if we can get a 30-minute slot to present. We were thinking of this exercise from 2026's perspective. We need 4 to 5 students to make a case first. So we have not been actually working on that, because if we show that, then we get a ticket to do it here in 2027. And that's when I think we will have to start going and do maybe a Nelson talk, like a CPAP seminar, maybe to engage more people, and or go to geosciences. Like Mati has participated, like few students from geosciences actually have participated in GCC. So like go talk to them first, see if they can log in
Yeah.
people who have participated and they can do this equivalent, like present or talk about GCC rather than us going. But we haven't started doing
Yeah,
that.
we're trying to pass the torch on because we're not gonna.
Yeah, maybe-
Maybe you can do it.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that we're doing this right now is because we're all old parts and aren't necessarily going to be students in 2027. And so, like, I'm sure that we'll be around to help, especially this year. But I think that sort of like reaching out to other departments to strongly recruit, I think that's something that should be happening like next spring. When we're like, when we have 100% certainty that it will happen in Wisconsin.
This is definitely like a group effort too. And so it's crazy how much hard work people put into this, and so it's really, really cool to see it come to fruition at the conference. But
It's cool.
it is cool.
It's like, I think it's one of the coolest things I've done in grad school. Like, seeing it come together, and especially when I was a co-chair, and I don't know, that feeling of letting go and trusting other people to like make something happen, and then they do make it happen and it goes really well, is kind of amazing. Especially when you know about all the little things that are like, that you're worried about, and so you're like running around with your head cut off, like a chicken with their head cut off, like trying to fix things, and then you talk to people who are just attending it and they're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm glad you think that. That's awesome.
It's very rewarding at the end
Yeah.
to see the conference come through.
There's also like very like small aspects of the conference that you can get involved with as well. Like I think the website is a really cool one. And like creating the logo as well. Like I created the logo for this past year. There's just like small little like niche things that you could also get involved with if you're interested.
Cool. Yeah.
What was the thing that went the most wrong when you say
Do you want to know?
I really want to know.
So, when Rudra and I were co-chairs, we had a like off by one error in our spreadsheet for who was accepted. And so we sent out an email to, like after having spent many hours finalizing like who, like the acceptance letters and the wait lists and stuff, we sent all the emails like off by one because it was sorted by last name. And then we sent them to a bunch of wrong people. And then we had spent hours on this, and I noticed it like a minute after we sent it. Like, oh my God, we just sent it to the wrong people. So I immediately had to send another email that was like, sorry, we sent that email to everyone. And then waited like 2 days, and then sent out the actual acceptance emails. We got like 1 or 2 people who were like a little frustrated sounding, but no one was like mad at us, which is good. But that was spooky, and also just like realizing it 2 minutes after you send it was so silly.
It's a fun conference. You really do get to know people at these. I mean, at Pack Forest, you're sitting in a cabin with like 8 people in it, so you gotta really get to know each other. But
And you really get to know the organizers, especially
Yeah.
because like the conference itself is really fun, and you'll meet a bunch of people. But if you're helping to organize, you'll be talking to them all year. And like, there's friends that I made that I still talk to, that I made because I helped organize the conference. Sweet. You want to put up the QR code again?
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for coming. If you have more questions or want to talk to us anymore, we'll stick around for a little bit. We'll also send out an email to like the whole department with the survey on it. And yeah, if you're interested, fill that out and then stay tuned. Thanks everyone.
And one quick thing, definitely apply to go. I just wanted to make a quick note that even though the title says Graduate Climate Conference, it is not a traditional climate science conference. So you don't have to run climate simulations or do climate change research to go there. Like people have presented on extreme weather, people have presented on climate justice or just environmental justice in general. So I think over time it has changed from strictly being climate science or atmosphere-ocean interactions to a very broader community of like what is climate or people or biological sciences in general. So no matter what your research is, you can definitely apply for an abstract and the organizers are going to be like, this is pretty cool. No one is presenting on this stuff, so maybe we should have them here. So use that and please apply if not, help organize. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.